Hello, good afternoon again. Today, I will also read about the true story of Kumbhaghosaka, the banker, and the story of Culapanthaka. Today, two stories, as usual. The first story, the story of Kumbhaghosaka, the banker. While residing at the Vilvana monastery, the Buddha uttered verse 24 of this book with reference to Kumbhaghosaka, the banker. At one time, a epidemic broke out in the city of Rajagaha. In the house of the city banker, the servants died on account of this disease. The banker and his wife were also attacked by the same. When they were both down with the disease, they told their young son Kumbhaghosaka to leave them and flee from their house and to return only after a long time. They also told him that at such and such a place they had buried a treasure worth 40 scores. The son left the city and stayed in the forest for 12 years and then came back to the city. By that time, he was quite a grown up youth, and nobody in the city recognized him. He went to the place where the treasure was hidden and found it was quite intact. But he reasoned and realized that there was no one who could identify him, and that if he were to unearth the buried treasure and to make use of it, people might think a young poor man had accidentally come upon buried treasure and they might report it to the king. In that case, his property would be confiscated, and so he concludes, and he himself might be manhandled or put in captivity. So he concluded it was not yet time to unearth the treasure, and that meanwhile he must find work for his living. Dressed in his old clothes, Kumbhaghosaka looked for work. He was given the work of waking up and rousing the people to get up early in the morning and of going around announcing that it was time to prepare food, time to fetch cows and yoke the bullocks, etc. One morning, King Bimbisara heard him. The king was the king who was a keen gesture voices commented. This is the voice of a man of great world. A mate hearing the king's remark sent someone to investigate. He reported that the youth was only a hireling of the laborers. In spite of this report, the king repeated the same remark on to two subsequent days. Again, inquiries were made, but with the same result. The maid thought that this was very strange, so she asked the king to give her permission to go and personally investigate. Disguised as restless, the maid and her daughter set out to the palace of the laborers. Saying that they were travelers, they asked for shelter and were given accommodation in the house of Kumbhaghosaka just for one night. However, they managed to prolong their stay there during that period. Twice the king proclaimed that a certain ceremony must be performed in the locality of the laborers, and that every household must take contributions. Kumbhaghosaka had no ready cash for such an occasion. So he was forced to get some coins from the treasure. As these coins were handed over to the maid, she substituted them with her money and sent the coins to the king. After some time, she sent a message to the king asking him to send some men and summon Kumbhaghosaka to the court. Kumbhaghosaka very reluctantly went along with the man. The maid and her daughter also went to the palace ahead of them. At the palace, the king told Kumbhaghosaka to speak out the truth and give him assurance that he would not be harmed on this count. Kumbhaghosaka then admitted that those Gahabana were his and also that he was the son of the city banker or Rajagaha who died in the plague epidemic 12 years ago. He further revealed the place where the treasure was hidden. Subsequently, all the buried treasure was brought to the palace. The king made him a banker and gave his daughter in marriage to him. Afterwards, taking Gombagosaka along with him, the king went to the Buddha at the Vilvana monastery and told him how the youth, though rich, was earning his living as a hireling of the laborers, and how he had appointed the youth of a banker. Then the Buddha spoke in verse as follows. If a person is energetic, mindful, pure in his thought, word, and deed, and if he does everything with care and concentration, restrains his senses, earns his living according to the law, and is not unheedful, then the fame and the fortune of that mindful person steadily increase. At the end of the discourse, Kumbhaghosaka attained Sarvati fruition. The second story, the story of Culapanthaka. While reciting at the Vilvana monastery, the Buddha uttered verse 25th of this book with reference to Culapanthaka, a grandson of a banker of Rajagaha. The banker had two grandsons named Mahabandaka and Chulabandaka. Mahabandaka, being the elder, used to accompany his grandfather to listen to religious discourses. Later, Mahabandaka joined the Buddhist religious order and in course of time became an arahant. Culapanthaka followed his brother and became a bhikkhu, but because in a previous existence in the time of Kassapa Buddha, Culapanthaka had made fun of a bhikkhu who was very dull. He was born a dullard in the present existence. He could not even memorize one verse in 4 months. Mahabandaka was very disappointed with his younger brother and even told him that he was not worthy of the order. About that time, Jivaga came to the monastery to invite the Buddha and the resident bhikkhus to his house for a meal. Mahabandaka, who was then in charge of assigning the bhikkhus to meal invitation, left out Chulabandaka from the list. When Chulabandaka learned about this, he felt very much frustrated and decided that he would return to the life of a householder. Knowing his intention, the Buddha took him alone and made him sit in front of the Gandakuti hall. He then gave a clean piece of cloth to Chulapandaka and told him to sit there, facing east and wrap the piece of cloth. At the same time, he was to repeat the word Raja Harana, which means taking on impurity. The Buddha then went to the residence of Jivaga, accompanied by the bhikkhus. Meanwhile, Chulabandaka wanted to wrap in the piece of cloth with the same, at the same time muttering the word Rajoharanam. Very soon, the cloth became swollen. Seeing this change in the condition of the cloth, Culapanthaka came to realize the impermanent nature of all conditioned. From the house of Jivaga, the Buddha, through supernormal power, learned about the progress of Culapanthaka. He sent forth his radiance so that the Buddha appeared to be sitting in front of him, saying, "It is not the piece of cloth alone that is made dirty by the dust. Within oneself also there is it the dust of passion, raga, the dust of evil, dosa, and the dust of ignorance, moha, etc. The ignorance of the Four Noble Truths. Only by removing these could one achieve one's goal and attain Radhaship. Chulabhadra got the message and kept on meditating, and in a short while attained Radhaship together with analytical insight. Thus, Chulabhadra ceased to be a Jalad. At the house of Jivaga, they were about to pour libation water as a mark of donation. But the Buddha covered the bowl with his hand and asked if there were any bhikkhus left at the monastery. On being answered that there were none, the Buddha replied that there was one and directed them to fetch Culapanthaka from the monastery. When the messenger from the house of Jivaka arrived at the monastery, he found not only one bhikkhu, but 1,000 identical bhikkhus. They all have been created by Chulapandaka, who by now possesses supernormal powers. The messenger was baffled and he turned back and reported the master to Jivaka. The messenger was sent to the monastery for the second time and was instructed to say that the Buddha summoned the bhikkhu by the name of Chulapandaka. But when he delivered the message, 1,000 voices responded, "I'm Chulapandaka," again baffled. He turned back for the second time. Then he was sent to the monastery for the third time. This time he was instructed to get hold of the bhikkhu who first said that he was a Chulapandaka. As soon as he got hold of that bhikkhu, all the rest disappeared, and Chulapandaka accompanied the messenger to the house of Jivaka. After the meal, as directed by the Buddha, Chulapandaka delivered a religious discourse confidently and bravely, roaring like a young lion. Later, when the subject of Chulapandaka cropped upon among the bhikkhus, the Buddha said that one who was diligent and steadfast in his striving would certainly attain arhataship. Now, the Buddha spoke in verse as follows: through diligence, mindfulness, discipline, with regard to moral precept and control of his senses, let the man of wisdom make of himself an island which no flood can overwhelm. That's all today. I read two stories in the Dhammapada book. I hope you have some knowledge about Dhamma, um, the method, the way to success or achievement. If one want to be successful or want to achieve the goal or the achievement, how he should do, how he should practice. The two story will give advice or these two story will guide you how to get or how to attain success or achievement or even nirvana. Thank you all.